I'm Warren Sprouse. This is the Bible Forum. It's May 27th, 2018. We're going to talk about shooting people. Why have there been so many shootings? We've got another one this week, senseless killings. Another one in the school. What do we need here? Do we need more laws? We think we need less guns. We're saying there are not enough of the first and too many of the second. Or maybe there's just not enough police officers. Or not enough technologies to stop this sort of thing. I don't think any of that is going to matter. It hasn't so far. Let me suggest to you what we need. We need more actual parents. You remember those people that said, no, you can't have a second cookie. And they made you believe it. Those people who said, you did what? Get over here. And you got a 10. You learned. There were penalties, painful penalties, if you did not do what you were expected to do. And we need more morally sound, responsible adults. Think about actual parents. They create such. You know, those people who bring you into this world and nurture you and feed you and protect you and structure you and educate you and prepare you for real life. They teach you how to live and interact with the world of people in which we do move and have our being. How to guard our emotions and control our impulses. That's what we're doing as children. Our parents are teaching us those things, right? No, they're both off to work. And when they are home, they're scurrying around to do all the things they couldn't do because they were working, and then they fall into bed. The people God gave to you in order to provide practical barriers that would keep you safe and out of trouble until you are mature, till you have been trained, until you're able to do this for yourself. And when that doesn't happen, you get what you get. When we hear of people, especially young people, committing heinous crimes with vicious weapons, what are we looking at? We're looking at people who have never been effectively parented. People who have never known a real limitation to their passions. People who see no practical penalties for wrong behavior, certainly none that would deter them. People who perhaps have not been trained to care. You mean you have to train children to care? Yes. Now, some are more caring than others, but you have to train them. You have to teach them. They have to be carefully taught. Oh, and you have to spend time with these children. They have to be kept busy. They can't afford to have too much time on their hands, too much unproductive time. Life is too short. I'm bored. I said that to my father one time. I never said it again. I think I did say it one more time. He said, oh, you're bored? No, I'm fine. How do these young people get the guns out of the house? Well, there isn't anybody there to stop them. How is it they can become so emotionally unbalanced without anybody in the family noticing? Because there largely isn't anybody there noticing. How do they get this far without seeking help, without telling somebody? Because they've been trained to immerse themselves in personal, private TV thingies, whatever, technology that closes out the world. They crawl into a small little hole. And there's nobody there but them and whoever's on Facebook. I realize nothing I'm saying is practical. But then parents today rarely have the kind of objectivity that they need. In part because they've grown up this way. We're in the third generation of people who don't have parents. They live in an artificial world. They're raising artificial children. You've seen them. Small children out in public talking back to their parents, yanking things away from their mom or dad, hitting them when they don't get what they want. Children who wander off from their parents as soon as you walk into the store or into the church or into a building and wherever it may be, they're gone. And the parents, oh, well, what are you going to do? Children who know that whatever penalty is imposed, it ain't going to be all that bad. And they're going to be grounded, but it won't be that long. Children who have far too much alone time on their hands. A child should never be alone, ever. Maybe if they're asleep. But then don't trust them. Children who have bad attitudes that nobody bothers to correct when they're little. You got a 8-month-old child that lashes out against his parent. They need to be corrected. That's when you start. You don't wait till they're 15. Children who have no real limitations. Whether it's behavior, attitude, money, time, it doesn't seem to matter. In their world, none of these things are real. Well, the Bible speaks to stuff like this. Proverbs chapter 22, foolishness, meaning irrationality, is bound in the heart of a child. They come into the world with that, oh, they're just so sweet. No! Stubbornness, foolishness, irrationality lives in their heart as a child. And it is the rod of reproof that drives it out of them. Nothing less. The rod of reproof. Doesn't have to be a stick you hit them with. But don't be afraid to do that too. But we have a whole world of parents that, not my Billy. When I hear a parent saying, well, not my child, I think, especially your child. If you think that child doesn't need it, that child can't act out that way or won't do that, you are living in a fairy tale world. And when that child is out of your sight and out of your hearing, you have no idea what they're going to do because you haven't trained them. The liberal meaning let them do whatever they want. The immature, oh, don't hurt their feelings. The ignorant, my children are good children. They would never do that. The selfish, well, I need me time. Go play. The self-centered, oh, my children are good. I can trust my children. These people are raising a generation of self-possessed, egocentric, dysfunctional adults. Adults who can't stay married, even if they want to be married, which a growing number don't. Adults who can't hold jobs. Adults are still living at home 30 and 40 years of age. You saw it this week. 30-year-old man living in his parents' house. They've asked him 5 times to leave. I wouldn't have asked my son more than twice. The second time I had to talk to him about getting out of the house, all his stuff would be out in the street. Yeah, well, he'll sue you. Go ahead. You're out. Don't care. He went to the court, pleaded his case. Judge says, you're out. Could have saved himself a whole world. Now he's got a job. Somebody gave him a job. He's got 30 days to get out. I'd be packing his stuff. Every time he left the house to go to work, I'd start putting stuff in boxes. The long and the short of this thing is there's a dearth of true parenting going on in America. Children have too much unaccounted for time, unproductive time. Children have no real responsibilities, and there's no real penalties attached to things. They have too many electric and electronic pacifiers, and they have way too much money and not near enough responsibility. Teenagers actually believe that they're as good as any adult. They're just as smart as you are. They're just as competent as you are. They're just as wise, and they're just as entitled. And the sad case here is that in a growing number of adults, they're right. Their parents haven't got a brain. They're living in an insulated, isolated world. Think Facebook, Twitter, it's all they know. That's the real world. Binging on these silly videos, TV programs, or worse, listening to music intentionally designed to heighten their emotions, to bring that tension into their body. Music with obscene, vulgar, ungodly, immoral, antisocial lyrics. Yeah, rebellion. Confronted with a world where there are no actual requirements, and convinced that whatever they want, whatever they feel, is the only thing that's real. The decisions that such a person as that is likely to make are bound to be destructive. Now, let them go burn their brain with drugs, alcohol, or popular music, or maybe cultivate a destructive value system, or just spend 6 hours a day on some electronic screen. Then present them with either a restrictive code of ethic or a value system and see what you get. Now multiply that with drugs, alcohol, or simply an overload of rock music. Did I mention no God? No God, meaning no external purpose or value system. No eternal, external standard of right and wrong. Now offer them an opportunity to pick up a loaded gun. Well, so no parent would do that. That's right. But that's exactly what these kids have been doing for the last 6 months. Pretty much everyone we've read about. They have found a gun and the stuff to go with it. The kid in Florida bought the stuff. You know what it cost to buy the weapons he bought? And the ammunition and the vest and all the rest. Where'd he get the money? You got a gun in your house? And you don't have that secure? I grew up with a World War II Marine. He was 80 years old before I knew he had a gun. And it was because he'd had a stroke and my mom wanted the gun out of the house. I never knew he had it. He'd had it all his life. It was his father's gun. What's the matter with you parents? That your kids know all this stuff. They're children. You don't tell them everything. You can't lock the gun up, then separate it from its ammunition. Hide it good. Check it regularly. If you're like me, you don't really think about the gun that much. You could go weeks, months before you even, let me see, I got one around here. So, no! You can't do that. Newsflash, sane or otherwise responsible people don't kill people in cold blood. Newsflash, godly people don't kill people in cold blood. Generally sober people don't kill people in cold blood. Talking alcohol and drugs. Mentally, emotionally well-balanced people don't kill people in cold blood. Offer them a loaded gun. They still won't kill people in cold blood. You have to be seriously off your rocker to walk into a restaurant or a school and start shooting randomly at whoever you see. Well, I'm under a lot of stress. I don't care how much stress you're under. Well, you don't understand. My life is just hopeless. Yeah, well, they're dead. Well, I'm angry. I don't care how angry you get. You want to get angry? Come over here. I'll give you a punching bag. Take it out of the bag. These people are super evil. No value system. Their parents gave that to them. Now tell me why our society doesn't recognize this sort of person before they open fire. And I'll answer it for you. Because that's the new normal. It's easy to blame the existence, the presence of weapons. But it's like abortion. Abortions have been around as long as there have been people on the planet. What's the problem? Well, abortion is a form of birth control. No, it's not. And why do we have this? Well, because the culture has come to the place where they allow it. The laws don't allow it. The social, emotional, spiritual culture says, we don't understand. We feel your pain. Do we outlaw sex? No, we glorify every form we can think of. We just don't want the children that sex is likely to produce. And what is that called? It's a form of corporate insanity. We did this to our kids starting in the 60s. When you stick your finger in the fire, count on getting burnt. The same is true when it comes to senseless shootings. There's nothing senseless about a gun. The gun is very purposeful. The gun will always do what it was designed to do, and it will do it every time. It's the user who is senseless, or ignorant, or vile. And somebody knew that before any of this happened. And if they didn't, they should have. When I was a teenager, my mother expected me to get dirty when I played out of doors. My father expected me to try and get away with stuff. And I always marveled at how they knew what I was doing. One day he told me, son, there isn't anything you can think of doing that I haven't already done. It's called parenting. That's the lost art. And that's what we're paying for. Get used to it.